Good afternoon. So I am down on the corner of the bottom lake and I am going to be trying to plant out this area here where absolutely nothing is growing. Hopefully it'll liven it up a little bit. So what's happened is we've had a customer come to the shop, said they're stripping out their pond because it got far too overgrown. They're buying all new plants. Did we want the old ones? And I went, yes, I'd love some established plants. I didn't realise quite how many they were going to give us, so I have got an entire trolley full of plants here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly lay these out, spread these out, because I'm not entirely sure what we've got in here. So I shall spread these out over here, find out what we've got, find out the best situation for them, and then get them planted. So right, let's see what we've got. Okay, so laid it out so I know what everything is. So these ones in the bag here aren't actually pond plants. I believe they're what's known as begonias. I know them as elephant's ears. So they can tolerate boggy areas and they don't mind the shade either, and they have a pink flower on them. Interesting thing is they'll flower any time of the year, even in the winter. They just flower when they feel like it. We have this clump here, which is an umbrella sedge. So that is a fantastic clump there, very fibrous roots to it. We have this clump here, which is another form of sedge. Now I don't know, there's 2,000 different varieties of sedge, so I don't know the names of all of them, but you can tell it's a sedge because the flower stem there is actually triangular. But like I say, there's 2,000 different varieties, so if you think you've got sedge and don't look like that, that might be why. Now that's actually yellow iris. That wasn't what the woman donated. That was what I pulled out of one of our ponds earlier in the year. It's been sat in a bucket, so I thought it's a good time to get it in. But you've got another iris here. Looking at the size of the leaves, it's about the same as that, so that's likely to be another yellow iris. You have also at the bottom of this got a water lily, so I'm thinking this one here will go deeper in the water, and that one there I'll put higher up on the bank, because they can actually tolerate really quite dry conditions, as well as going quite deep into the water, the yellow flag iris. We have also got these down here, which in the back of my mind it is saying greater pond sedge, but at the same time it's greater pond sedge, greater spearwort, but again in the back of my mind that's also saying it's wrong. So it should have a yellow buttercup flower on it. That is the seed head there. The flowers have finished, but that's all it does. That just creeps along. Yeah, I was going to say that's another one, can go quite deep in the water. When I say quite deep, you're looking at probably up to about a foot of water over the top of it at the most though. And then in the bucket down here we have got some water lilies, which I'll probably put somewhere else. So yeah, got quite a nice little selection here. So yeah, let's get them arranged down here in the water. So the bank on this side is actually quite shallow most of the way out. Problem is it's incredibly rocky as well. So these big clumps, I was thinking of dividing them, but to be honest I'm not going to be able to dig a hole for them properly, and I don't want them blowing over, so I'll probably just sit them in as they are. But yeah, let's find a good few places. Well, that's doing nothing. Okay, so that's those three in. I can't exactly say planted. what I've done is I've scraped the gravel back until I've hit the clay layer that the pond is actually made of, sat the plants onto that and anchored them back down with the rocks. So they should then get their roots down into that clay layer and secure themselves. And sedge here, because it's got such a fibrous root system, that'll actually be quite good. It'll spread and just almost create its own little island there, so they should absolutely love it. So I am curious as to what to do with this sedge, because it is absolutely fantastic. I want it close to the plant path so you can see it and appreciate it. Problem is I can't think of anywhere suitable to put it. So what I am going to do is I'm going to plant it on the side here. It's going to be more difficult to see it from the side of the path, but it will be happy there, and then if somewhere more suitable comes up later on, I can dig it up and move it then. The main thing is having it happy and alive for now. So yeah, I'll probably plant that there. I'll probably get these yellow flag irises in a bit further forward about here, because this is still quite moist here for some reason. So yep, let's get those in. Okay, I'm going to move on to the elephant ears now. You can see this is one plant, and that is the main clump of roots there. But where this one's touched the ground here, it's got all these fibrous roots going off of it. So what I'm going to do is try and turn this into two plants, which is a very easy thing to do. Literally, snap it. So hopefully those roots there will sustain this half, and this one will survive off the main roots from the original plant. So let's get these in. Okay, so that's that lot in. Hopefully they'll do okay here. It is a little bit shady, so they might be a bit low on light, but as long as they can get their roots established this year, I'm going to be trying to take some of these trees down over the winter, hopefully, because looking at it here, you've got a laurel there with a hazel at the base of it, you've got an alder over there, you've got a silver birch over there, you've got various sycamores in there, you have got an oak tree that I can see over the far side in there. You have got the berberis hedge, which could do the trim. There's probably more going on in there, and it needs a little bit of thinning out and a little bit of care. So I will be doing that in the winter, and so as long as these can wait until next year, then hopefully once they get the light on them, once I've got these trees down, the roots will be established and they'll just thrive in this corner here. So the elephant's ears here looking a little bit wilted. I'm hoping they're going to be okay. I don't know how long they've been dug up for, and obviously they were very much bare rooted. They are quite a hardy plant, so can tolerate a lot. It might be that, again, lose the leaves off of it from this year, but next year they'll put more leaves up. They are evergreen, so they shouldn't disappear completely, but it might only be the new leaves that survive. The old leaves might die off, so we'll see how they get on. But yeah, I've still got another bag of elephant's ears there though, so I'm thinking I'll put those around the other side of the pond. So let's go and get those in. Okay, so I'm just on the main path here, and yeah, I'm thinking this area here, where the elder tree is above it, that's kind of shaded that out. There's not a lot going on under there. Obviously there's enough light the ivy can cope with it, so hopefully they'll be able to cope with it as well. And the soil is incredibly moist, considering this is beginning of August. Normally at this time of year I'd be worried about everything curling up and dying. The ditch that I started digging earlier in the year was actually full of water the other week. It has been so wet recently, so yeah, this should be lovely and moist to get them into, so let's get them in. Okay, so that's those planted in there. Hopefully that'll also keep the kids off of there, because that soil, as you probably saw, was incredibly soft. So I reckon if you stand still too long, you'll be up to your knees in it. So again, this is an area over winter I'm hoping to try and improve. One of the biggest things to improve this would be to finish that ditch off. The other thing is try and remove some of these overhanging branches, because I don't want to take the trees out, because obviously they're taking moisture out of the soil and the roots are holding on to the soil. But you've got the beech hedge here, which actually starts right back there, but hangs all the way over here. So if you take all those branches back, you actually get sunlight into here and it might dry it off slightly. Same with the sycamores that are in there. Take some off the elder there. And then on this side, you've got an ash tree and another alder, which to be honest don't need to be there, and a holly as well. Again, taking those down, not only will you get better views across the lake, that'll also allow more light in to dry this out. So, but that's not for today. So last thing is I have got this box of water lilies, which I'm not too sure where to put them. So just out there is a small island. Problem is I don't really want to get the boat out just at the moment, just to put a couple of lilies on there. So what I'm thinking is you get quite a steep drop off here, where those ferns are. So I'm thinking possibly just put them down in this corner here. They should thrive and spread over here, and then later in the season, possibly in a couple of years time, if I have to, I'll be able to dig them up from there and move them elsewhere. So yeah, I think I'll pop those in there. Okay, I shall see how far out I can go before I flood my wellies, and that's how far I'll plant these water lilies out. So I'm loving how clear the water is at the moment. Normally by this time of year, the bottom lake is usually absolutely smothered in duckweed. So it's fantastic that that's all gone. I mean, we did try and clear it over the winter, but we didn't actually take any measures to stop it from coming back. So I'm so pleased that that's not come back. So yeah, that means that these should do well, because I'll actually get light to them. So right, let's get these in. So I gave it a little while to allow the water to clear, Unfortunately it has cleared, but where the sun's moved around you can't really see them. I can see enough to see that they are properly planted. So the large flat leaves on the water lilies there will die off, because they've grown to their adult size and they won't grow any further from there. So where they're underwater, they'll die off. The ones that were culled around the edges, or the new shoots, they'll all grow up to the surface, to the actual water level, and then lay flat on the surface. So within probably about 2 to 4 weeks, you should see the leaves on the surface there. They do die off over winter, so over winter that will completely disappear again, and then you'll see new shoots coming up again, probably about March, April time. But yeah, next summer that should be a lovely show there. And we'll see how they get on, but if they're doing well, I'll move them over to the island. Well, I might leave them there, but I might move them over to the island there. But yeah, so I'm going to end this video here. It was nice of that person to donate those plants. I do hope they survive. And yeah, I shall see you later.